presents to you Honest Talk.
Hi folks. Today we are back with one more great and leading personality, Mr. Siddharth Sogani. Siddharth is the founder and CEO of Kribaco Global, which is a research, intelligence, and rating company focused on blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Kribaco has one of the largest comprehensive research databases of the industry with over 2,500 plus projects globally. Siddharth is double masters in international trade banking and finance, specialist in foreign trade, and is also a certified Bitcoin professional. The main vision of his company is to eliminate scams and make the blockchain and crypto ecosystem more regulated and organized. Siddharth helped Kribaco develop a unique matrix to conduct assessment of emerging tech companies in mainly blockchain and crypto using 150 plus parameters covering legal, tech, financials, and due diligence involving over 2,000 plus data points and making that data immutable using blockchain technology. Kribaco works with governments, regulators, SEZs, VCs, and projects to build and share the most reliable database and setting new benchmarks for the industry. Siddharth is also a partner in BlockNext Solutions LLP, which is a tech consulting firm, and is a director in his family business of textiles. So, let's begin our talk with our today's guest, Mr. Siddharth Sogani.
First of all, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us. We are extremely very happy to have you for today's talk.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you so much, sir. It's our pleasure. So, sir, moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is understanding cryptocurrencies and the things you must know before trading. Sir, I think you are the best person to answer my all those questions. Sir, my first question, which basically comes here as we are taking this topic, the basic question which comes here is, in simple words, what is cryptocurrencies and how it works?
Cryptocurrencies are peer-to-peer transactions. Currently, what we are using is we use bank mobile apps, Paytm, and all these mobile applications. So when we are sending, say Siddharth is sending to Harsh, I'm actually taking help of Paytm's network, and Paytm takes the responsibility of accepting money from me, sending it to, say, your bank, and then crediting to your account. When we are doing a cryptocurrency transaction, it is working on a decentralized network which is automatically run. So there is no third party like Paytm or State Bank of India. It works directly. So it's like it has a public key and a private key. Public key is your address, which is, it's like a QR code. So I take Harsh's QR code and I transmit this message, transmit the currency using my private key. So private key is like a lock. It's a lock and a key. So I can access my funds only if I have the key. So this happens directly between you and I without any third party. It's just the network which takes the responsibility, and the network is run by miners and nodes which take the responsibility of confirming and validating that transaction which has taken place. So it's like, you can't go back and say that, sir, you never sent me one Bitcoin, because the nodes who are running that network, they validate this transaction. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the congestion of the network, but usually it is done in average 10 minutes. So your money is sent from Siddharth to Harsh in 10 minutes without any third party, and it's cross border. So that's one more advantage to cryptocurrency. It's like you are receiving payment from somebody sitting in jungles of Africa who just has a $50 phone and internet. You can receive or send money to him directly. You don't need a bank, you don't need to do a wire transfer, you don't need SWIFT. It is peer-to-peer and direct.
All right, sir. I think you have very clearly explained what actually it is and how it works. I think the viewers, those who are watching this session, of course, they are going to learn from it. Sir, my next question to you, how many cryptocurrencies exist and what are the benefits of cryptocurrencies?
See, cryptocurrencies, a lot of cryptocurrencies which are there on the market, they are more than currencies, as in they portray themselves as utilities tokens. So it's like if I want to start a sugar factory, I come out with Siddharth token and I'll tell you that, Harsh, buy my tokens and you can redeem those tokens for my sugar once I start the factory. So that's how I raise money and I circulate those tokens in the market. So it is not just a currency, but it is something which I will redeem. It's like how we use airline miles. You can redeem it with the airline services. Now, a currency doesn't have that option of redeeming with services or anything. So if you believe that my sugar factory is doing wonders, you can settle it with your friends, saying that, you know, whenever you need sugar, you can just go to Siddharth, get this tokens and redeem it. But that's more than a currency. It's a utility token which you and your friend are settling, keeping me in mind, right? But a currency like Bitcoin, there is nobody to go and redeem that thing. It is just working as a currency. There is no sugar factory behind Bitcoin, right? You got my point, right? So that's the idea of the currency, cryptocurrencies. I mean, the crypto tokens. There are, I think, hardly 15 to 20 currencies which are just having the currency feature. The rest of them are tokens which have some use or the other. You can launch your token in 10 minutes. You can go on the Ethereum blockchain, write your smart contract, and start circulating your currency. Currently, according to Etherscan, there are 26,000 smart contracts. I think there are about 4,000 to 5,000 currencies already circulating, but it all depends on how strong that network is, which adds value to it.
Again, sir, it was really a very insightful answer from your side. Sir, my next question to you: how one can buy cryptocurrencies and make money investing in cryptocurrencies?
So, cryptocurrency, it's not an investment advice, disclaimer, but cryptocurrencies are at a very nascent stage right now. So it is very volatile. So if you see since the last one decade, you know, going up and down 10%, 15% in one day is a joke for currencies like Bitcoin. So we shouldn't get into Bitcoin if you just want to make money. But I believe that if you want to invest at your first attempt, you should go with a mindset that, you know, you are here for the technology and the disruptive nature, and you're there for a substantial period of time. I think you shouldn't, you should always invest in what you understand. So if you are learning about Bitcoin, you won't really care, you know, you'll just read it as some general knowledge and forget about it. But if you invest, say, even $1,000, your attention span towards that information will increase, because you know your money is involved there. Like, you know that you will pay attention to every minute detail which you are able to learn. So if you want to start with just 5% of your liquid assets, something which you can afford to lose. Only start then, and once you understand it enough, then take a decision of investing further. A lot of people have made this mistake, you know, because everybody is like, you know, buy Bitcoin, it's going up. Yeah, there was a rat race in 2017, and when there was a sudden spike in Bitcoin, everybody was talking Bitcoin, newspaper headlines with Bitcoin. So a lot of people got into that momentum trying to make a quick buck, but suddenly the Bitcoin fell down, right? So you shouldn't make that mistake again. We lot of people, I mean, thousands of people learned it the hard way of not burning their hands in crypto. So just initially just stick with Bitcoin, which is the largest network. It's been there since a decade, and it's actually there is nobody behind it, and it's a validated network. So just start with Bitcoin, stay with it for a couple of months, understand how the decentralized ecosystem works, then increase your stakes. Don't take a chance of going all in. You know, you don't make a quick buck in it. You cannot make a quick buck in anything until and unless you understand it well. So don't make that mistake. Currently, there are a few exchanges in India. I mean, if you just type buy Bitcoin in India, you will get the names of those exchanges. They are there. Very, very well run, led by really smart people. You can just deposit some of your money, 5, 10, 15,000 bucks. Buy that crypto in decimals. You don't need to buy the entire Bitcoin for $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. you can buy even for $10, right? So take a chance, learn, make your account, do the KYC. It is not something which will help you evade taxes. You have to show it in your books, do it the right way, invest in small amounts, and learn it. It's very important to learn it before you expand your investment prospects.
Again, sir, I think it is really a very great answer, or rather say it is a great advice from your side. And I say that it is a kind of privilege that we got a chance today that we are listening all these things from you. Sir, my next question to you, what actually determines the price of cryptocurrencies?
That's a very, very good question, because a lot of people, if you want to buy cryptocurrencies, there are very few ways which helps you understand the pricing. Now, a lot of people, they try to correlate cryptocurrencies with the traditional stock market. It's not like if you want to buy a Tata stock, you see their net profit, you see their year-on-year analysis and all those things. In cryptocurrencies, it doesn't have fundamentals behind it in numbers like balance sheet and profit and loss, but the network on which that cryptocurrency is running, which that determines the price. There is Metcalfe's law of telecommunication. You can Google it, you will understand it. In simple words, it's like if I have a mobile phone and I'm the only one with the mobile phone in the world, I cannot call to anybody, right? So it's worthless for me. But if you have a mobile phone, I can call you. So the price of my mobile phone increases because I can make a call to you, right? That's how, if millions of people on this planet, they have mobile phones, the network's worth increases because they can communicate with each other. Similarly, even Bitcoin, the more and more number of people who are using Bitcoin, the more and more nodes, miners, wallets, exchanges, they participate in that ecosystem. The value of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, I would speak for Bitcoin, that increases. The more people accept it, the more the more validated that price becomes. So it's a matter of trust. If I say that this key is for $10,000, you agree that it is $10,000, I can sell you this key for $10,000. But if I manage to convince somebody that this key is for 1 lakh rupees, and you agree that it is 1 lakh rupees, we can do the transaction, right? So it is not the value of the key, but the value of the consent. It's the consensus clubbed with the Metcalfe's law of telecommunication, the more people in the network, which determines the price of Bitcoin fundamentally. Now, there are a lot of manipulations in the price. The prices goes up and down because the participants right now are very small. The order books are really thin. But I think since the last 1 year, things have changed in Bitcoin. Bitcoin has become more stable. A lot of institutional investors have come in the Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem. So things have changed. Now the prices are stable, and you can take a chance by just buying Bitcoin and learn about it before taking any further steps.
Sir, my next question to you, as you have told that you have to learn for it. Sir, my next question to you, what do you believe, what are the best ways for beginner to learn about cryptocurrency market?
The best way to learn about crypto is to buy it. So there are a lot of it's a very nascent thing. Like if you want to learn economics, you will have Alfred Marshall, James Keynes. They've written so much about it. They've done so many tests and research about it. Then they've come out with their research. In crypto, it's just 10 years old, and from 2010 to 2015, there was not much of activity in this ecosystem. But 2015, 2016 onwards, a lot of people jumped into it. Everybody started knowing about it. But there are a lot of people who teach you blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but the quality of education which I expect in the crypto space is not yet there. It will take a few more years, and the best way to learn more and more about it, of course, internet has thousands and thousands of resources. You have to do your own research. But more than research, I believe buying a fraction of Bitcoin makes you open your eyes, makes you realize that you can be a part of a decentralized ecosystem, and I think that makes a lot of difference. If you are just reading it you may learn about it, but it won't give you goosebumps. But the moment you own some Bitcoin, you'll feel wow. Just try owning some Bitcoin, try sending it to one of your friends, and you'll see wow, this is magic.
All right, sir. I think the things which you have told, our viewers will listen and try it as well. Sir, my next question to you: what are the things one must know before trading?
Okay, it is really, really volatile. Trading markets are really advanced. Like if you go to Binance, which is like the number one exchange in terms of, I think, volume, organic volume, it's really advanced. You've got FNO, you've got contracts, you've got leverage trading, you've got spot trading, you can short sell, you can do a lot more things which even the regular traditional market offers you. The trade engines which these exchanges are using are superb. They are next generation. Even the stock exchanges like Nasdaq, Dow Jones, BSE, they are also not using this kind of technology because it is capable of settling more than 50,000 transactions per second, which is super fast. Like you click and it's done. Of course, the trading and research tools are quite great. There are candlesticks and a lot of other technical charts available. So a trader can experiment and learn and predict prices easily. But yes, the prices are volatile. Those coming from the trading background, they will understand what I'm going to say next. It's like on a trade engine, on a trade screen, there are buyers and sellers, right? So, for example, on the buy side, there are 10 orders worth of $1,000 each. But on the sell side, there are 10 orders of just $100 each. So, if say one buyer places a market order of say entire $1,000, the price will suddenly shoot up because he will buy the entire sell side of the order book. So it is very important that the buy side and the sell side, both of them are enough, and there is enough liquidity to keep the spread between the buy and the sell as low as possible. So this is the buy and the sell side of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the biggies. They are quite healthy. But for the smaller tokens, when we talk about thousands of cryptocurrencies, their buy and sell side order books are very weak. So even if you go with say $1,000, you can pump the coin or dump the coin. So any trader who's trying, and if you just buy the sell side, the price goes up, and then you try to sell what you've bought again, there is no buyer technically at that price. So then again there is a dump. So you have to be really careful when you are getting into these small tokens. Don't see the price or the volatility, but see the depth of the order book. See if there is enough liquidity before you get into trading of it. But yes, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, all these are very, very healthy order books. You can just go in and start trading. There is no harm in it, but you have to be careful with the smaller tokens.
Again, sir, I have to say that I must say that you have explained it quite well. And sir, I don't want to take you much time. So moving to last question of this session. So the question is, what are the issues and the risk associated with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin?
All right, now this is gonna take me a little while, but see, Bitcoin, a lot of people say that it is used for illegal activities. It's used for drugs, terrorism, and all those sort of things. But if you see the world market, it's over $80 trillion, and if you assume that just 2 or 3% of it is for illicit activities, still it is bigger than the entire market cap of Bitcoin. So when people say that Bitcoin is being used for illegal activities, I don't think that their statement is valid enough. Secondly, of course, it's a very unregulated ecosystem. Government of India, for that matter, is not clear with what kind of regulations shall be followed if you are receiving payment in Bitcoin from overseas, or you are investing in Bitcoin. What kind of capital gain taxes have to be paid? What kind of anti-money laundering laws shall be followed? So these are some of the regulatory, or I would say, risks associated with the policies. Other than that, the risks which I see from Bitcoin is lack of knowledge and education, because if you own a Bitcoin and you keep it on some random exchange, there are hundreds of exchanges as well. You keep it on some exchange and then that exchange suddenly gets hacked or they stop their operations, you have actually lost your funds. So the safest way to keep that crypto is to keep it with yourself. You keep it in a hardware wallet. It's like a pen drive. You can go buy those hardware wallets. They are easily available even on Amazon. Buy the hardware wallet. Keep your crypto in that so it doesn't get hacked. And also don't invest in ICOs and quick buck making multi-level marketing schemes. There are hundreds of them. You try and go find one, you'll find hundreds of them. So don't invest in all those things. Invest in Bitcoin, invest in Ether, invest in the biggies. Don't invest in all the small tokens, and make sure that you keep your crypto safe. If you are there for the long term, don't keep it stored on the exchange. Keep it in your hardware wallet. That's the best way to avoid risk. And yes, educating yourself. There are thousands of crypto websites which gives you news and updates. Keep yourself updated, because this industry changes overnight. Suddenly there is DeFi, suddenly there is a hack, suddenly there is a policy change. Sometimes Donald Trump may tweet something against crypto and the prices may fall. It's crazy. You have to be updated. It's a challenge which is associated with this industry, which we must not forget.
Again, sir, I think it was really a very insightful answer from your side, and also a very healthy discussion with you on the topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. We look forward to conduct more session with you. Thank you so much, sir, for joining.
Thank you so much, Harsh. All the best. Happy investing.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.